In this world, everyone is given a planet to become a planet lord, and I clearly possess a 3S class mechanical planet capable of creating a million mechs. With it, you, boom dash. The red lightning sword triggered a thunderstorm at the tip of the sword. Elder Wu was completely obliterated. Even the shockwave from the explosion of the huge red thunderstorm made many people's hair fly in disarray. High level 1-star, all-round enhancement card, activate. Zhu Guangfu immediately summoned his elite army from his territory and used an all-round enhancement card. The Black Warrior was not surprised by this scene, showing no emotion. The power overwhelmed without crushing the ants, indeed difficult to control, but crushing the ants directly did not require much effort. However, the army enhanced by the high-level 1-star enhancement card had an aura equivalent to a high-level 3-star lord. After all, it was an all-round enhancement card. Don't underestimate me. The next moment, Zhu Guangfu immediately began to command his army. The entire army gave the Black Warrior a different feeling, no longer weak. Interesting, since being created by the Lord, no opponent has been able to withstand a sword in front of me. Your army is not bad, but when I swung my sword, only a few died. The Black Warrior suddenly became interested. However, Zhu Guangfu's immense killing intent did not diminish at all. You're just a mechanical creation. When he said this, Zhu Guangfu himself felt a bit lacking in confidence. Because just now, the Black Warrior mecha slashed his army, and 1/10 of his army was directly killed or injured. With a few more slashes, the army would be wiped out. It's actually because the Black Warrior mecha has relatively little combat experience. Every time it goes into battle, one strike can leave the opponent either dead or half dead. If the situation is not like this, it means that one is still somewhat weak. Indeed, that War Fortress is tens of times stronger than me. Even if I go all out, I feel like I can't defeat the War Fortress. In the eyes of the Black Warrior, to get Hoshino's attention, the first requirement is absolute strength. Just like the War Fortress controlled by Tianwan, the level of strength is terrifying. Even now, she can only withstand 2 shots. War Fortress? Zhu Guangfu's face changed. Wow, that War Fortress is really different, and it seems that this mecha is also somewhat dissatisfied with Hoshino. Is it because of the resource imbalance issue? As a lord, in each lord's territory, there are sometimes soldiers who are not weak in strength but not the strongest. The resources tilted by the lord will be distributed according to a certain proportion. As a result, some soldiers may feel dissatisfied. There is a very small probability of defection, but it is not impossible. Zhu Guangfu immediately seized this opportunity. If you join my territory, I will give you more resources at most. In my opinion, you definitely have more potential than that War Fortress. Zhu Guangfu also felt a little pleased. Hoshino, oh Hoshino, you are still too young. This mecha is powerful, and you have given her intelligence no less than that of a human. Humans are the most complex creatures. What? You? How dare you try to turn me against you? Damn you! I won't spare you. The Thunder Dragon roaming on the Black Warrior mecha suddenly became violent, and its roaming speed also increased significantly. The killing intent made people shudder. Many spectators at this time felt that the blood in their bodies was somewhat frozen. How is this possible? Dark Thunder Assimilation. Crackling, crackling. The Thunder Dragon roaming on the Black Warrior mecha suddenly exploded. Even the dark clouds in the sky quickly dissipated. All the Thunder Dragons turned into electric currents and rushed towards the Black Warrior mecha. These electric currents gradually gathered behind her into a pair of wings constructed of black and red thunder. At the same time, the Black Warrior mecha emitted the aura of a low-level 8-star. This is only an 8-star, but no one dared to underestimate it. Their eyes bulged suddenly. They did not feel that the strength of a low-level 8-star was the same as that of the soldiers they had seen before. Zhu Guangfu was completely stunned. So, this is the full power of the Black Warrior mecha. The previous attacks were not even considered full power. /dash. At this moment, Zhu Guangfu felt completely locked in by a great killing intent, standing still, unable to move at all. Let alone any other actions. Almost only his eyes could move. How could this be possible? There was no way. Swish. Another quick slash. This time the power brought by the slash was not like before. The elite army summoned by Zhu Guangfu seemed to disappear like snowflakes falling, disappearing the moment they landed. Even Zhu Guangfu felt half of his body losing sensation. Everything from the past played out in his eyes like a movie. Since he could remember, he had been nurtured by Baishu with all his heart. Later, he found that without resources to rely on, it was difficult to develop his talents. But he didn't want to disappoint his teacher, who was also his foster father. After all, his foster father was the second team leader of the Imperial Teacher Corps. Later, he used his own means to frame many people, even causing the death of a whole family with his schemes. He gained a lot of benefits from it. After all, lacking talent and high intelligence, he had to plan everything meticulously to achieve anything. Soon, his actions were exposed, violating the laws of the empire. In order to protect him, Bai Su went from being the second team leader of the 7th division of the empire to the 6th team leader. Eventually, Bai Su achieved another victory on a planet, which led to his promotion to the 4th team leader of the empire's 7th division. Everything in front of him felt increasingly heavy. In a daze, he seemed to see his teacher's smiling face again. Since his youth, he had never seen that smile again. At this moment, Director Shui was almost frozen solid. He had no time to pay attention to the situation of Zhu Guangfu and the others. At this moment, struggling in the extreme cold was extremely difficult for them. A member of the Jiang family had just taken out a few cards. The person turned into an ice sculpture instantly. The cards fell to the ground with a snap. No, it can't be. How can I die here? The Black Warrior mech had already disappeared into tiny red starlight at its original location. She effortlessly dealt with 3 high-level 1-star combatants. Hoshino naturally let her go. The Black Warrior noticed a hint of praise in Hoshino's eyes. It was a simple look, but for the Black Warrior, it was the best treasure. For a moment, even her power core felt a bit heated. It was like a child receiving praise from their parents, as some children never experience that in their lifetime. In a way, it was quite precious. The disappearance of the Black Warrior mech did not attract much attention. Many people at that moment deeply swallowed their saliva. 3 high-level 1-star lords were cut down like worms. One of them was quite resilient, enduring an extra blow. From another perspective, he was indeed a dean. He understood swordsmanship. At this moment, Director Shui struggled to pull out a card from his lord's space. Intermediate 4-star, Frost Resistance card. Activate. Intermediate 5-star, Life Recovery card. Activate. 2 cards in a row. Director Shui immediately felt his blood flowing again, no longer frozen. At that moment, he didn't think about fighting the extreme cold in front of Hoshino, but turned his head in another direction. Yes, he also intended to fight. Not only him, but some of the Jiang family members who were not completely frozen also had a strong will to survive. They didn't have much enmity with Hoshino. Maybe Hoshino would give them a chance to escape. Some people thought this way. However, the reason for this situation was simply that the extreme cold had not fully awakened. She was in a state of hibernation, allowing her to continuously accumulate her icy power. Is this child a bit slow to react? This was the first time Hoshino had let the extreme cold come out to battle. Frost Howler, semi-hibernation state, low-level 6-star, mech durability, 600W/600W, energy shield, 8000W/8000W, special skills, absolute frost, part of ice, frozen conversion, spacetime ice binding, falling ice feathers. The projection of the heavenly net appeared next to Hoshino at this moment. Jiang Yunxiao looked at the sudden appearance of the heavenly net and was stunned. You, who are you? It was mainly the projection of the heavenly net, dressed in a very alluring manner. Once the heavenly net noticed her gaze, it immediately changed into a different outfit, covering from head to toe. Although she was still just a projection, not even a physical entity, the heavenly net was quite concerned about appearances. Through Hoshino's scanning of the outside world, her high computing power naturally allowed her to notice. Hoshino would linger a second or two longer on some 18-year-old girls. Heavenly Net, the manager of the Lord's territory, the controller of the war fortress, the developer of the territory, the calculator of the territory. Don't be afraid, you are not our target of attack. The projection of the Heavenly Net suddenly appeared, with a somewhat stiff expression on her face, attracting the attention of many. Who is that? A projection? In his territory, there is actually such a highly intelligent AI. The level of this AI should be over 30. Yes, it should be over 30. Any AI over 30 can have a projection. No wonder he's not afraid of Zhu Guanfu's AI control card. The AI control card, this thing actually has many drawbacks. Sometimes it can even be counter-controlled by the AI inside the environmental card. Its effectiveness is too limited. This kid can't stay in this city. In this southern sky city, someone like him is clearly out of place. As the saying goes, bystanders see clearly. At this point, the onlookers all understood one thing very clearly. That is, after Hoshino, he definitely wouldn't stay in this southern sky city for long. Take a simple example. A young person who has already achieved some success economically cannot stay in a small place forever. This southern sky city may not be small for others, but for someone like Hoshino, it's like a whale in a fish pond. It's just too cramped to even take a step. Under these circumstances, it's a wonder he can stay. Not far away, the lord of the city, who was also in a state of surprise, slowly came to his senses. His face was slightly darkened. These words could be said, but as the lord of the city, he heard them directly in his ears. "Servant, do me a favor." "Ha? Yes, sure, what do you need? Do you want me to go and confront them?" The attendant beside him also immediately regained his composure. Mainly because such strength appeared from a low-level 6-star lord, it was like a fantasy, but the situation was already like this. No, there's no need to confront them. Sooner or later, they will send gifts to Hoshino. After all, they represent various families. So, are you saying we should go directly to those families? Stupid, I don't want to get involved with the families. Under the Empire's law, there will be no tolerance. The lord's brow slightly furrowed. Then what about you? Simple, after leaving this environmental card later, you go find some people. When they plan to leave, trip them up a bit, preferably make them all fall. After speaking, the lord calmly took out a fruit from his territory space, carefully wiped it with a napkin, then put it in his mouth and took a bite. His expression was calm, with a hint of reservation. The attendant? Hoshino also looked at the heavenly net, not surprised by its appearance. Will Jihan always be in this state? Yes, I remember she can hardly wake up directly unless you get angry. Her temper is actually very hot-tempered, even she can't control it. Her current consciousness should only be half awake. Hoshino was taken aback. The heavenly net nodded slightly. Every mech I create, I put all my effort into it during manufacturing, and I integrate the soul of the materials into it. The Black Warrior absorbed all the materials in the territory, giving birth to an extremely complex character. The materials used to create the extreme cold are the bodies and treasures of ice attribute monsters, forming their own ecosystem, with a significant proportion of monster bodies in the materials. The burning furnace of the war fortress has also not been spared. This leads to her unstable personality. Once she becomes enraged, she becomes like a wild beast. The Tianhuang's eyes flashed with a lot of data. If you want her to fully awaken, you just need to tell her it's time to eat. My voice is not effective, it must be you, my lord. Hearing Tianhuang say this, Hoshino's face showed a strange expression. Alright, these children all have their own personalities and uniqueness. The personality of the Black Warrior mech is cold yet strong and gentle. At the same time, there is no room for compromise. You can tell from the fact that she wanted to torture and kill Zhu Guangfu. As for this extreme cold, it's a bit like a beast. Xiaohan, it's time to eat. Hoshino casually patted Xiaohan's head. Zhang Yunxiao beside them had a strange expression. Is she also a mech? Yes, she is also a mech. The people around them looked on with equally strange expressions. This clearly looks like a living being. Could she be a semi-mechanical creature? It's not impossible, given his craftsmanship in mechanical manufacturing. Creating a semi-mechanical creature is also possible. But why can't I see any other materials on this creature? She really is a semi-mechanical being. At this point, the audience was no longer concerned about whether Hoshino could defeat the opponent, but rather focused on what Hoshino had brought out.